This is a big week. If you like rumors, and for years when I was double dipping, in addition to this radio show, I ran a gossip website, and so I've always appreciated the rumors. I realize that most of them will not happen, but we do start with pro bouncy ball, and we've got some moving and shaking around the NBA. The horse trading is underway. The flag is up. The wheels are in motion. And the wheeling and dealing has begun. Bradley Beal, we talked about this in a previous episode of the show. Bradley Beal, he gone. Bye-bye. Kicked out of the Beltway and into the Valley of the Sun. That the first of what is supposed to be many dominoes to fall. So who you got on your big board on the trade watch? Trade watch. As we head into the main event. Thursday night, the NBA, not trade deadline, but the NBA draft, which is a secondary trade deadline. So the big name here, now that Bradley Beal has been moved, the big name that moves up the pecking order here would be Zion Williamson. Now, we've talked about Zion a little bit on this show, and we did a monologue last week. The Zion's name popped up in some trade conversation. There's some new information out. His name has popped back up in the popper, and it is getting a lot of play, spreading like wildfire across the NBA gossip mill here. Zion Williamson. Now, we are hearing that Zion is being heavily shopped. He can be yours if the price is right. Now, last week, the rumor was the Pelicans wanted the number 2 pick from Charlotte or the number 3 pick from Portland. Now, all bets are off. They're willing to trade Zion just about anywhere for a combo dish, a all-you-can-eat buffet, which, by the way, Zion likes, of random players to come to New Orleans. Now, there are conflicting reports on this. Bill Simmons, who used to be a big wig, now he runs a podcast company, but he tells us that Zion will not be in New Orleans anymore after Thursday. He's got insider info. Okay. But there's other reports saying, hold your horses. Hold your horses on that. So let us discuss the question on this one. Zion Williamson on the auctioning block by the Pelicans. Yay or nay? Yay or nay on Zion Williamson being on the trading block? So I am a hip, hip, hooray! I am, yay. I believe there is absolutely a lot of movement. A lot of movement going on. I buy it. I've got bumblebees, Big Bertha, and worshiping. And we will combine all of these random things together, and we are going to make the Baba Ganoush. Why? Because people were complaining I stopped making the Baba Ganoush. So we're going to make some more Baba Ganoush. I thought I'd switch it up and not do the same thing all the time, but people complain. People complain about everything. All right, so Zion right now is in the waiting room. The deal, not done, not complete, but certainly would be intimate, that it's close to happening here. The Pelicans, right now, what they're doing, my computer-like brain tells me, is they are working out the framework on multiple deals. And they're calling every team that is mildly interested in Zion Williamson, and they're going to evaluate everything. And then on draft night, tick, 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 the doomsday clock moves forward. And then when the first round of the draft begins, that's when the fun begins. But not even the number 1 pick, because San Antonio's not trading the Parisian prodigy. So it starts at number 2, but they'll have a powwow on draft night and say, all right, should we trade this fat ass or should we keep him? What should we do? But I always say follow the bumblebees. Follow the bumblebees, because where you find bumblebees, you will find honey. Where the bees are, that is where the honey is. And it looks like Zion got caught, ironically enough, in a honey trap, which is part of the problem here that he's in. But if you look at the treasure map, the obvious ones are the Hornets or the Blazers, because they have the second and third pick, and that's in play. But what about other teams? Like the Celtics could get involved, or the Knickerbockers, for example, the Dallas Mavericks. How about Minnesota flipping Cat for fat? They could send Karl Anthony Towns to the Bayou, and in return, Zion Williamson can go back to the Twin Cities. and eat all the juicy Lucy's his heart desires in Minnesota. But Zion is the quintessential change of scenery type player. All he needs is a fresh start, and we'll lead him away from the buffet and lead him somewhere else. And that's why I believe he's going to be traded, because the Pelicans, they were foolish to give him the contract. He didn't earn the contract. They're dummies in New Orleans. So now he's embarrassed them. They're in the Bible Belt, and he's stooping everything, apparently. Very open about it. So that's a problem. And so it's just not worth it, not worth your time. So they'll get rid of him. But the skill set is tantalizing. He's nimble. He's powerful when he plays, with the caveat he rarely plays. Buyer beware, right? Buyer beware on this. And it is more than meets the eye. He is a capital E as enigma. Now, turning the page on the trade front for Zion, because that's just the tip of the spear. There's a different spear that Zion is interested in that has also caused him some problems here. Zion has lady troubles, specifically this Mariah Mills. I had no idea who this woman was, and now she's the most fascinating woman in the world. Everyone's favorite OnlyFans model, which is, legal porn. You can do it, sell it, whatever, do what you want with that. Good for you. Knock your socks off. On social media, heavy artillery coming from Mariah Mills. Now, she's the other woman when Zion announced that his girlfriend was having a daughter and with him, and then she said, hey, wait a minute, I was just taking you, making whoopee like a couple days ago with you. What is that all about? And by the way, one got past the goalkeeper. So she kind of made that announcement. So her latest, I call it Big Bertha from Mariah Mills. She tossed out the Big Bertha. Now, what is the Big Bertha here? The OnlyFans model has informed the NBA that she has sex tapes, as in multiple recordings of herself and Zion going to Pound Town, having a grand old time there. And she says that he also has copies of those videos on his trap phone. So there you go. The Spitfire lady has advised the Pelicans to trade him now. She's now advising an NBA team, says he does not deserve to be in New Orleans. She concluded her tirade by saying the sex tapes are dropping soon, and we have clicked refresh. We have not seen any. Of course, just doing our due diligence, of course. Otherwise, we would not be interested in that kind of smut. But we have, because we need to watch for you, because you have virgin eyes, and we need to watch. Now, moving on from that, turning the page. So the last part of this, I want to head to Memphis, away from Zion Williamson completely. There's some more fallout after the freshly suspended guard, Ja Morant, got 25-game suspension from the NBA. The Grizzlies guard who loves his guns almost as much as the New England Patriots secondary love their guns. Ja Morant back in the saddle again. So he's back in the news cycle. If you didn't see this one, buckle up, buckaroo for Ja Morant. So this is a good one. So Ja Morant, we are told, his camp, his posse, his team, his advisors, all of those people around Ja Morant feel like the NBA and the media are out to get him. They are out to get him. Yeah. Got it! Yeah. Now, that's the word that has been whispered around in the back channels of the NBA. Fascinating. So what is your takeaway? What is your quick takeaway from Ja Morant's inner circle believing the NBA media is out to get him? So Ja is going to the tabernacle here. He's actually worshiping. If this is true, and we have no reason to doubt it, why not? We'll just go with it. We'll assume for the purpose of the show it's true. But Ja Morant, offended, thinks the NBA media and the league's out to get him. He is worshiping at the Church of Victimhood. Yet again. And this is one case. You cannot blame the NBA. You cannot blame the media. In fact, I would argue that Ja Morant is lucky that he found a silver bullet, to use his lingo, because otherwise he would have been facing some serious jeopardy here. Adam Silver's a lightweight, the commissioner of the NBA, and it wasn't the media, it wasn't aiming the NBA. He posted the first video, Ja Morant, from the club outside Denver there, the ballet. He posted that video. So you've got that, and then you can expand past that, and the second video was one of the guys who he picked as a friend. He posted the video. Wasn't, to my knowledge, anybody in the media or anybody at the NBA that was out to get Ja Morant. In fact, the NBA sent him to quackery therapy in Florida the first time. They let him go to some quack in Florida and use palm healing to solve his problems. Well, shockingly, that didn't work. The transfer of energy from my palm to your palm, I think palms were used, but not necessarily in that way. Anyway, so he posts the video. Another video pops up, and Adam Silver gives him 25 games. That should have been a minimum half a season. And if the dead commissioner from back in the day, David Stern, was still around, holy crap, that would have been a lifetime ban for Ja Morant if David Stern had been around, and just wild. So in a sense, that's nothing. The average NBA star misses 20 to 25 games a year. So Ja Morant, maybe he'll miss 30 games. He'll miss another 5 for load management. That's nothing. And he thinks he's the victim. That's the mentality, man. I'm telling you, that's the mentality for Ja Morant. That's embarrassing. So it makes all the NBA players look bad. Makes him look worse because he's the one out in front on that.